Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rebecca Mosley, co-founder of LaughingPlace.com, and with me today is Mike Celestino, the editorial director of Star Wars content for Laughing Place, and we're here to talk Star Wars headlines for the week of December 3rd. How you doing, Mike?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. There's quite a variety of topics to talk about today, so I'm excited to kind of go through the whole gambit of headlines. But unfortunately, we start off with a bit of sad news. We're gonna, since our last meeting, we are announcing the passing of David Prowse, obviously a legendary actor and very important within the world of Star Wars.
Yeah, I remember growing up, and you always hear, James Earl Jones is Darth Vader, and of course he is the very famous and instantly recognizable voice of Darth Vader for many Star Wars films and other stuff. But the guy in the costume, the guy in the helmet on set was David Prowse, and of course he brought a lot to that performance as well, the physicality of Darth Vader. So a big, big, big part of what made Star Wars from the very beginning.
Now, I can remember first learning of David Prowse actually in a movie book for Superman, because it was Christopher Reeves was talking about bulking up for the role of Superman, and he talked about how David Prowse actually worked with him on, kind of building up that musculature for working as Superman. And I also have read since that there was some I guess David Prowse himself was considered for the role, but then they felt that it would need an American actor. So that's how we ended up, that's how Chris Reeve kind of ended up with it as well. So
David Prowse was considered for Superman?
That was an article that I read in the midst of all of this talk of him helping out with Chris Reeve, that they were actually both, because I don't know how strongly he was considered. Because those are those stories where over time they can kind of shift, and you never, you don't really know all of it. But the other thing
I had no idea about that, so that's very, very interesting to me.
The other thing that I can remember is getting into schoolyard fights, because you would say David Prowse was Darth Vader, and people would come at you like, no, it's James Earl Jones, I know it. And I can remember bringing in that Superman book to prove to the kids in the schoolyard, no, see, there was a guy who was in James Earl Jones was not the man inside. That's not who it was. So, it's one of those, I could just, so he plays an interesting role in my schoolyard memories.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the recent conversations about Pedro Pascal, who is credited as playing the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, but he's really, by and large, he's mostly just the voice of that character. He has been on set, he has been in the costume, but mostly the character is played by these stunt performers and other actors who are in the costume. So JB said he's surprised to learn he thought he was... Oh, yeah. So this is always something that's been floating around, that David Prowse was kind of taken aback when he learned that his voice was dubbed over by James Earl Jones. In my head, I've heard that so many times that I'm not sure how accurate that story is, but it may very well be true and be officially quoted from David Prowse. But I don't remember if that's one of those things that is actually 100% confirmed, or if that's one of those just stories that's been floating around forever.
Right. That's what but like I say, over time, those stories kind of, you never, depending on the source, you're never quite sure exactly the root of the matter on them. But also this week, you have been talking about the Light of the Jedi special edition bundle.
I didn't write this one up, but this was a news item that came across the LP news desk about the High Republic, which is starting in January, and they're going to have a special edition copy available of the first novel called Star Wars: The High Republic, Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, and this will come with a pin and socks, which is odd, but it's got a cool, unique, limited edition cover of some Jedi riding against the enemies, I think called the Nihil, on some weird Star Wars looking horses.
They're kind of a cross between a horse and those critters we saw. Oh, see, now the planet name's going to escape me. The casino planet.
Yeah, Cantonica, Canto Bite, the
Yeah,
fathiers.
yeah. They kind of remind that they've got the big kind of
Yeah. Are they?
donkey
They
like
might.
ears
They
of
might be
that.
fathiers. I don't know. They. I
No,
can't tell
they
from
don't.
that
They
image.
don't. The face looks too
Okay.
elongated to me in the way that this art is. But I agree with you. It could be stylized, so
Yeah. There's
we
also
may
the
not
ones
know.
in the Rise of Skywalker, the ones called the Orbaks that they run on the Star Destroyer.
I will never know how you keep all of these species
Well,
and
that one I think was
critters.
named after the actor Jerry Orbach as the kind of an in joke at Lucasfilm. So,
Okay.
um, that was an easy one to remember.
Okay, Caitlin. And, and then I guess in your house, you've got an LP on the way, huh?
Yeah, so this actually went on sale yesterday, although it got announced I think last week, and I pre-ordered it today. I went and looked to see if there were any left, and I pre-ordered this one. So historically, I've found that, and I think this is why they sell two different versions of this, because there's the one that looks like this. You can see the discs have that cool like hyperspace effect on it, and this is the one that I ordered because I couldn't resist how cool it looks. But you can also get it just in the black vinyl, which I'm thinking probably sounds a little bit better. As I learned, some of these picture discs don't sound as good if you just get the plain black vinyl. I guess it's like a purer sound. But yeah, I don't own the solo soundtrack, so I was like, okay, well, this is the opportunity for me to get it finally because it's such a cool looking set from Mondo, and I do like that score quite a bit by John Powell, I think is the composer who did that one.
I can't remember the last time I actually like bought. Yes, and you're right. It is John Powell.
Yeah.
Bought a soundtrack or music because I subscribe to like two different music services, so I just
Yeah.
have become so accustomed to just playing whatever song.
Right.
But it used to be that that was one of the first things I'd always do after a movie was go and find the soundtrack and listen to it. Oh, and Caitlin shares that she actually had the pleasure of meeting David Prowse. So
Oh,
it was a
that's
more
great.
personal moment to learn that he had passed.
Yeah, he
So
was a guy who kind of made the rounds in the convention circuit for a long time. You would always see him at his booth and stuff. So yeah,
oh,
a sad loss for the fan community for sure. But yeah, going back to what you're saying about the soundtracks, yeah, I am a sucker for physical media still. Yeah, I'm occasionally I'll bring up something on Spotify, but I always vastly prefer either the CD, which I've stopped buying CDs now that we have a record player again, because my wife a few years ago got me the 40th anniversary Star Wars record player, which is so cool. And now, whenever there's something I really want, I'll buy the vinyl. So, yeah, they got me again with this one. I'm looking forward to, and I still have on the way the big vinyl box set for The Mandalorian, which hasn't arrived yet, even though it was supposed to ship in November. But I got an email like a week ago saying it's going to be a little delayed. So they said now by the end of December it's going to arrive. So,
oh wow.
um, yeah, we may not even be able to talk about that on Mando Mondays or anything because
Oh,
it's not here
it
yet.
may not be here by then.
Yeah.
Run Disney. I'm with Doobie on this one. When you said you stopped buying CDs, I did not think you were gonna say because I'm buying records.
Yeah, I went backwards. I went backwards.
It's like, yes, next up is the 8-track for the technophobe. No, I'm joking.
Well, here's how much of a physical media person I am. A lot of vinyl records will come with a code to download the digital file. So you'll have a nice copy of it on the vinyl, and then you can also get the digital files. And I have yet to uh, submit to the code. I have yet to
Really?
redeem the code for any of the ones that I've got. Like I just haven't bothered because I'd rather just go and listen to it on the record. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me, but there's something wrong with me.
That's so good. That's so good. Well, if you need to Star Wars eyes your exercise, if that's a way that you can motivate yourself to get out and run or do a little bit of physical activity, Run Disney and Shop Disney are here for you. They have put up for sale the various performance tech fabric gear that I suspect would have been on sale during the recent Run Disney event that was not able to actually be physically hosted in Walt Disney World due to the COVID restrictions. So they have the Join Me Run for the Empire with Darth Vader swinging a lightsaber, TIE Fighter's Death Star in the background. And then for your support team, they have shirts that represent the Child Challenge, where it says in the corner, 0.0 miles, representing the fact that it's not the runner. And usually, as someone who's a support person, we sleep much later because we don't have to get there at 5 a.m. for the start.
Yeah, but I think they probably had to walk more than 0.0 miles to get wherever they're cheering on. They had to walk at least from the car to that place.
No credit. No,
okay.
No, only from start line, whatever is start line through the course. This is what you get credit for. I thought this one was clever with the I Run Solo and then the Han Solo on it. That is a Harrison Ford, right? I mean, when I looked at it, to me it looked like Harrison Ford because the logo itself and the color scheme to me was reminiscent of the more recent film.
Okay, so you mean as opposed to Alden Ehrenreich? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, this is probably going to be too specific, but I believe that is an illustration from a book called Star Wars: The Essential Guide to Characters, which came out in like the mid 90s. Because that was a book that I inhaled and read over and over again, and that image just jumps out to me of like, oh, that's from that book.
I love that. That you're like, oh, I recognize that graphic. And then they have the Follow Your Dark Side in either a deep magenta or in a delightful blue, which I found humorous. But this was the one I would want out of the items that they shared. It is a collection of vehicles. Millennium Falcon, and other things I'll say are TIE Fighters and X-Wings, but Mike would probably be more specific.
That looks accurate to me.
Okay. So nice collection. And then Shop Disney also added this week some corksicle. I always add extra R. Corksicle branded tumblers, canteen, and stemless glass, no, not glass, but stemless stainless steel goblet, I guess.
Well, now my lack of knowledge is going to be showing in the on being unable to identify what that logo was on that previous page.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll help in a moment. So okay. This says Darth Vader, but it's black.
It's just black and gray.
It's sleek. It's black. They put their logo in what they call his lightsaber red.
Yeah, that doesn't scream Star Wars to me.
Okay. So I was kind of lost on that one too. But then how about this one?
Okay, I could see this being like, I didn't have to look at the word there to think Stormtrooper on that one at least. And
that's funny that this one didn't grab you because this one grabbed me right away.
C-3PO. Okay.
Yeah. That's what the.
Oh, so that's on his chest, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's meant to reflect that design of C-3PO.
That's subtle to a point even beyond I can appreciate. Right? I think
I was fascinated by these choices here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so there they are. They're corksicle. They're over at Shop Disney. If you're looking to add to your beverage collection in a refined and only subtle Star Wars way. And then not so subtle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like we're going to have a lot to talk about here because I've played through most of this. I haven't finished it only because I can't do it for very long. It makes me nauseous, and I'm not someone who gets motion sick very easily. I go on all the rides at Disney parks, and I think actually Mission Space at Epcot is the only one, and the Mickey's Pixar Pal Around is another one. But other than that, I'm good with any theme park rides for the most part. And this VR game has made me to almost get to the point where I felt like throwing up twice. So I had to I had to put it down and write my review, having not yet fully completed it. But I feel like I got through most of it, and it's really well made. A lot of thought went into it. There's a lot of cool features. The gameplay is really neat. I wished that I could play it on my Xbox. That was my thought.
I watched. I'm a terrible gamer, but I love the stories that are
Yeah.
expressed in them. So I find other people who are skilled gamers and watch their gameplay on YouTube. So I did that with the Fallen Jedi. You know, hour upon hour of gameplay and cutscenes, and then eventually I just started watching cutscenes so I would get the story. But with this one, I watched the chapter that involved the rescue of R2D2,
Okay, I haven't gotten that far.
and it was very I could see where I was watching it on the television. I found was like very, a lot of the bouncing around of the visuals as he's, because as he looking around, it's a very different uh what's the word, the horizon fluctuates much more so than it would with a standard game interface. So
Right.
yeah, and I was envisioning, well, and then if I had goggles on instead,
Yeah, and it's
even
right
even
here,
yeah,
you
even
know?
more so. Yeah, it was really amazing. But it was super super cool to see familiar things, like we were in some sort of droid shop, with I think with this character who, this one right
Yeah.
here, Mike.
On the bottom left, that's
Yeah.
Mubo. So
Okay.
Mubo is the guy, you don't see him when you go to the park, but he's like the behind the scenes, well, not behind the scenes, but in universe owner of Droid Depot, the place where you go and build your droid in Galaxy's Edge.
And it looked so much like it. It was like
Yeah.
as if instead of it being a place where there were all these, guests building droids, it was it, it was like you had encountered it on this planet. It was very very neat to kind of see it in real world, and the interaction with C3PO, I thought that character was really well realized within the game.
Yeah.
The portion I saw, he falls, and he gets himself into trouble, and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, and you're helping him out a lot. But yeah, it seemed like a really neat way to explore a little bit more of the universe. And my understanding is that, like, after you finish the chapters that they've currently given you, that new ones will be arriving.
Yeah, so it's going to be released in parts, kind of like they did with the last one, which was called Vader Immortal, which I didn't have a problem with motion sickness with. I went through that whole game, all three parts, and for whatever reason, never felt sick at all. This one, I couldn't do it. I don't know what it is about this specifically, but yeah, I think another part is coming in the spring.
And then when you go to the bar, there's like this bartender, and he like tells you his stories, and he recounts like kind of
Yeah.
tales of the region and the area. So there's
Yeah,
like,
cool tidbit about the bartender. He's voiced by Bobby Moynihan of Saturday Night Live and DuckTales. But his name is Cecil Slack, which is a reference to Mo Sislak, the bartender on The Simpsons, confirmed by some of the developers of the game. So I thought that was a pretty cool reference to another now Disney-owned property. Um, and yeah, that's a fun new character. And I remember when they announced that he was going to be a part of the game, I was worried that it was going to conflict with the story that we know of Galaxy's Edge and Oga's Cantina, because it looked to me like, okay, where we're looking down from this new cantina, it's looking down on the uh, spaceport area where you see the Millennium Falcon docked and stuff. And one of the first lines he has in the game, that Cecil Slack character, he says he stood up to Oga. So I was like, okay, all right. Well, they established that because Oga's kind of like this crime boss, and I didn't understand how she would allow for this other cantina to operate like in competition with her cantina. So hey, they put a line in to explain it, and that was enough for me.
I have to admit, I'm glad you told me about the connection with the Simpsons character, because every time I hear the name of this bartender, I think of the villain. Is it Missile? Oh, Dubiel, no, Missileplex.
Mr. Mixelflix from
Yeah,
DC Comics.
yeah. For
Yeah.
whatever reason, whenever you say this, over when we've been talking about this, as written about its coming arrival, and all that,
But
I
if you
think
look
of.
at the way Moe's last name is spelled on The Simpsons, they've really just added a few vowels in there to
Right,
spell out.
right. I think that's why there's just so many vowels in it. The last time I
Yeah.
had to try and get through that many was with that villain in the DC world. So, okay. Yeah, that's where my mind goes. Can't help it. Sorry.
Yeah. But other than being in that cantina and being able to look down on the area where you can visit the Millennium Falcon in the park, and then, like you say, later on you go to Droid Depot. Other than that, you don't actually walk around Black Spire Outpost. So those of us in Southern California who can't go to Galaxy's Edge right now, we still have to wait to go back. There's no doing that in VR, like walking around the actual area that you see in the park.
Nope, just
this
Sims
this
4.
is the other, yeah, you got Sims 4 from the bird's eye view, but this is the game takes place mostly in like the wilds of
Mm-hmm.
Batu in the mountainside. You're like walking around the actual spires themselves.
I am. Oh, there was one other element of this, and then the element that you also said that was a bit less to your liking is that it's not as directive of a gameplay. It's more of an exploratory nature. Am I understanding? Maybe I'm recalling what you were saying with your with your review of it, but I felt like it it was a bit frustrating in some of the here, I'll read it. It
Okay.
said,
Yeah, I don't remember what you're saying, but
no, I think I am misremembering. I am confusing it with something else, but you did mention that you had a few game halting bugs.
yeah, there's a couple times where the game just crashed and I had to back out and reboot the whole thing. And those were coming to me in moments where I was already feeling a little queasy. So I was like, should I just stop? But I plugged ahead for the. I feel like I had to do enough to feel like I got the gist of what was happening so I could write the review.
Did
Um,
they? Does it offer you frequent? Because one of my frustrations sometimes is the length of play before you can get to like the next kind of save point or thing like that. Is this game like that where there's like only select portions of it that you can then stop, and if you don't stop, there you have to end up replaying large segments.
no, I'll say the great thing. One of the great things about it is that it has frequent autosave points. I think like probably every little section that you walk through
Oh,
will
fantastic!
give you
Yeah.
an autosave. So if you put it down and come back, you'll just pick up pretty much in the room or area where you stopped. So, um, yeah, that was not an issue.
Well, I know this week you had a lot of high praise for this next item, so we'll move on to the Art of
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
this is what I'm really excited about this
Oh,
week.
hey, I forgot you had the book. Here, let me let you be solo. There you go.
It's so great. It's so great. I can't say enough good things. My copy got beat up in the mail, which I'm a little bummed. You could see the cover is torn here. This
Oh,
came like this, so I was bummed about that. But other than that, it's a great book that I suggest everyone buy for the Star Wars or the Mandalorian fan in their life because it's just so cool, and I learned so much already from reading this, and the art. Like every page, my jaw dropped, and I was like, "This is like frameable stuff. If you had this on your wall, like they've got a lot of these two-page
oh,
spreads
that's
of all the,
gorgeous.
yeah, and every page is like that. Like these examples I'll show you are just a couple, and there's hundreds and hundreds of stuff like that. Um, and then in between, they've got quotes from all the people who contributed the artwork. There's quotes from Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and then there's also, oh, this is one of my favorite ones too. Wait, yeah, this is like bird's eye view of like walking down wooden planks on the ice planet in the first episode.
Oh, wow.
Just like, how cool would that be to have a big copy of this framed on your wall? If you were
That's
more of a
amazing.
minimalist than I am. Um, but
Wow.
then I'll show you like the kind of pages that are in between where they're showing you. Okay, this is like showing you how the Mithril character was designed in the various stages, and then all these captions are just explaining to you the design process for basically every creature, every landscape, every location, every character, and it's a nice thick book. You can't go wrong. This is everything I wanted out of a book like this, that I wished as soon as we saw that concept art at the end of each episode of The Mandalorian over the end
Hmm.
credits, I was like, this all has to be collected in a book. And they've done that. And it's more. It's more than just that. It's way more than just that. Here's another great one.
I love that they didn't feel compelled to simply be a picture book. Yeah, and in a
Yeah.
way that
And you
they,
could have done that, and I would have been
yeah.
satisfied. And it's way, way more than that. This is a must own to me. Like, if you're a Star Wars collector and interested in learning more about the behind the scenes stuff, like watch the Disney Gallery on The Mandalorian, but this book goes beyond that, and I learned a bunch that they don't even mention in that show. There are chapters that are mostly text in the beginning without pictures. Here's the forward, and there's like an introduction that's all text, and this is talking about like the origins of the show
Oh,
and
wow.
the early relationship between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, how they first met, which I never heard the story of before, how this show got pitched originally, the early stages of development, and then they go through basically every episode in season one and break it down by scene. It's everything that you would want. I can't say enough great things about it. It's only $25 right now on Amazon. I just checked it this morning. It's a
Wow.
$40 retail price, but you can get it for 25. There's the back cover with Moff Gideon.
Ooh, hang on. I gotta be
Yeah,
careful. Oh, so
this
cool.
is a great, 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 great book. I don't know what else to say except that I highly recommend it.
Oh, well, okay, I will be adding this to our collection, and I am very rough on books, and also have a son who I know will also read it. So we'll
Okay.
trade. I'll I'll
Okay.
I'll, I'll give you my pristine copy, and I'll take the one with
Well,
the damaged dust cover.
our CEO made me the same offer, and I already took him up on it. So I don't
Okay,
know if
good. As
that's
long as you've got the pristine, 'cause
yeah,
I can tell you based on the way books get used around here with the various individuals in
yeah.
this household. Yeah, I don't need to
Oh,
worry about it.
you know what? While we're on this subject, there's a couple things that jumped out at me when I
Okay.
first opened this book that I just want to talk about real quick, real quick. Um, just things I was like, oh wow, like things that I hadn't known before, because I'm very interested in the development of this show, and it seems to me in the early days, the very early stages of development, that either this show was going to be about Boba Fett or that the Mandalorian was going to just be wearing Boba Fett's armor, because all the very early concept art, it's the main character is just wearing the exact Boba Fett's armor that you saw in the movie. Here's one with him holding the child, and it's just Boba Fett's armor with the famous jetpack and stuff, with all the other Mandalorians around him and stuff. So they don't. Now I've read through all that in the chapters, and they don't specifically say that he was going to be wearing Boba Fett's armor or that Boba Fett was going to be the main character, but that's my guess just based on that artwork. But Dave Filoni talks about how they had to learn to like differentiate, like figure out how this character was going to be visually different from Boba Fett and how he was going to stand out and make him unique. And they talk about how the helmet is actually like shaped differently, because he doesn't
Hmm.
have the rangefinder on the helmet
Right.
that Boba Fett has, but also the actual shape of the helmet is slightly different. It's like narrower, and
Hmm.
the visor is narrower, I think, and stuff like that. Which I hadn't really thought about stuff like that, but it's really really fascinating. And again, I can't say enough great things about this book. I was really looking forward to it, and it exceeded my expectations by a bunch.
And the author is an amazing Twitter follow as well. I
Yeah.
very much enjoy his tweets all the time. I want to say it's Phil Stosic, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure
Yeah,
because
there's another name that's hard to pronounce, but
I'm not
definitely.
exactly sure how that
Yeah.
SZO combo is pronounced, but I'm going to go with Stosic.
Yeah, and he's been a Lucasfilm guy for a long time. And then the foreword was written by Doug Chiang, who's the creative lead at Lucasfilm. And he was a concept artist for the prequels and following through to Galaxy's Edge and all the Disney era Lucasfilm stuff. So this is top notch Star Wars content for me, and I geeked out when I got it, and I'm still absorbing stuff from it.
Well, I'm excited now to get my hands on it too.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that it exceeded expectations. It's always so great when an art of book offers you that kind of behind the scenes content as well. I mean, we always love getting our hands on that beautiful artwork and those beautiful concepts.
Yeah.
But when they bring you a little bit more, it's like, a little like additional sprinkle on the cookie, you know?
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm glad it was so much fun. Let's see.
And it's coming out at the perfect time because I feel like everyone's talking about The Mandalorian right now, with the season being a little bit more than half over, but everybody's been going nuts over the episodes. And then also for the holidays, you got a perfect gift to give the Mandalorian fan in your life.
This
Dr.
week,
Aphra.
Mike shared the review of Dr. Aphra at number 6, or do I have up the wrong one?
Nope, that's just a variant cover,
Gotcha.
and I actually like that one a little bit more than the artwork that was on the cover that I got. But yeah, this is the start of a new arc, a new story arc for Dr. Aphra. She gets hired by this lady who's in the Taggy family, another one of these like aristocrats, who has hired her to like track down another artifact because she's earned this reputation as a kind of a rogue archaeologist.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also teased the return of this character, Sana Staros, who doesn't actually show up in this issue until the very last page. So I thought this was a little bit of a false advertisement there, but she'll be in the other chapters later on in this arc. They're actually skipping a month with Dr. Aphra. There's not going to be an issue in December. The next one's coming out in late January. So this is the last one of the year, this issue number 6. But yeah, I always enjoy Dr. Aphra. There's a sample page for you there.
Yeah. I was going to ask, the art in this is always, I mean, the women in this are always exquisite. I find whenever I've read of Dr. Aphra in another series, but I have yet to read the Dr. Aphra series. But whenever we're doing these, I'm always struck by the curves and the flowing nature, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it is cool to have a Star Wars comic. I think really the first one that is like pretty much mostly female centric. Like all the other, I mean, obviously Princess Leia is a main character in the main title, and then they did introduce Dr. Aphra in the Darth Vader comic, and then you got the Bounty Hunters, which is the other one running right now, which is they introduced a couple new female characters, but it's mostly the male bounty hunter characters. But yeah, this is mostly Dr. Aphra, and her sidekicks are mostly female, and then like the new antagonist slash I guess patron of Dr. Aphra is also a lady too. So that's neat.
Yeah. And finally, as we're wrapping up, Mike, we have the celebration announcement.
Yeah, it's next year's the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, which was founded in 1971. And then the first few movies to come out of that were THX 1138, American Graffiti, and then Star Wars in 77. So a big celebration in 2021 of all that, everything that they've made, I think probably in those 50 years, including like Willow and all the Indiana Jones films and Radioland Murders and Howard the Duck and everything. Hopefully, will get recognized in this celebration. But there's also going to be, as came out in this announcement today, some new merchandise, and I don't know what else was announced.
There's merchandise and I guess I'll see everything. Doesn't everything fall under the name of merchandise? Consumer product.
I guess so. Yeah.
So when you say so it's like there'll be
merchandise
books,
sounds
be
more
games.
appealing to me than consumer products. I don't know.
Okay, so what? Games, limited edition products, books. So and we know some of those. The High Republic items are going to be coming out next year.
Yeah.
We already know of those coming. So yeah, it'll be. I don't know. I'm very interested to see kind of how 2021 will take shape. Apparently, Benji wants a celebration of strange magic.
Yeah, and red tails.
So there you go. The wish list. But no, 2021, because we're all still waiting to see, how 2021 will shape up. Because part of what has been a big element of Lucasfilm celebrations, obviously, have been conventions. And,
yes.
Those have not been able to take place. And we keep planning for them in the future, but yet it's like, we keep waiting to see exactly when does that future start, right? We're still,
as of right now, we'll get a Star Wars celebration in August of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But for this 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, I really hope we get some new Indiana Jones content, and I don't even mean the movie, which they keep saying is going to happen, but who knows? I would like to see more Indiana Jones like toys and video games, and I don't know. I feel like that's a largely untapped and otherwise very popular franchise right now. So, please, more Indiana Jones stuff. Doesn't have to all be Star Wars coming out of Lucasfilm.
What do you need to add? What do you need to add to your Indiana Jones collection? What's your request?
Well, I mean, number one on my list, and I've been saying this for years and years, and then somebody made a cool YouTube video that went along exactly with what I've been suggesting, but they need to do a Indiana Jones animated series that is his adventures in between the movies.
Oh, and, that would be fun.
Somebody made a fantastic animated opening title sequence for this imaginary animated series. It's on YouTube, and it's great. You should go and watch it. But I actually said this to Matt Martin last time I talked to him at the High Republic media event. He's a member of the Lucasfilm Story Group, and he said he would love to see that too. But I don't know. Who knows if that'll ever happen? But I think, if you do it like the Batman animated series from the early 90s, I think it could be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
That'd be fun. Especially, I mean, if you're wanting to target younger kids too, you could also do like, okay, so see, I come from the generation that had SeaQuest, and then at the end of SeaQuest, we would get some sort of educational tag from Robert Ballard, and I enjoyed those because I dreamt of being a marine biologist when I was young, and so that made it cool to me. In addition to the idea of living underwater, but I could see where you could do that with Indiana Jones, right? You go and you explore this region, and he's looking for this stuff. He has this adventure, and then you can have this tag where you actually walk away with a bit of tangible, knowledge, maybe about some piece of history from the region, or maybe just geography or something of the region. And
sure.
So like win-win. So it's like
the real life history behind the artifacts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I could sign on for that. Hey, if you're enjoying our review of this week's Star Wars headlines, be sure to like and subscribe, and that way, when we go live, you'll know that there's another program hitting Laughing Place's YouTube channel. We have lots of different types of content here. We have Star Wars Talk on Thursdays with Mike and I. Then we also have Mike and I actually on Mondays. We talk about the latest Mandalorian episode and what kind of product releases have happened that week, because right now Disney's doing this campaign called Mando Mondays, where they unveil new collectible items related to the latest Mandalorian episode. We also, on Laughing Place, we were born out of a theme park coverage, so we have live walk and talks from the theme parks when possible. We also have trivia contests. There's all kinds of stuff going on here at Laughing Place, so be sure and like and subscribe so you can find out what we're up to. If you're in need of more Star Wars content, which we're always in need of more Star Wars content, look for Mike's Who's the Boss podcast. Do you have any information on upcoming episodes? Or I know with the holidays around the corner, I know some have been taking breaks and whatnot. So I just
there's gonna be a break, but we got to follow through to the end of the Mandalorian season. So a
okay.
couple more coming, or 3 more coming exactly. But I am trying to line up an interview that I can't talk about yet. But
Okay.
hopefully that'll happen within the next couple weeks. And yeah, I think that the season finale of Who's the Boss is going to be the week after the season finale of The Mandalorian. Then we'll come back in January after a little bit of a break.
And Mike keeps you up to date on all the news within the Star Wars universe, both here at Laughing Place and with his at Who's the Boss Pod Twitter handle. So you can find information both here and there. Let's see, Mike, anything else you want to share before we say goodbye until next time?
No, I just say go buy this book. It's $25. It's worth way more than that. It's worth the $40 price tag, but you can get it for $25 right now.
Right now over at Amazon. So oh wait, I'm being asked a question by the disembodied voice off camera, my husband. Yes. Oh, he wants to know if you'll be upset if he buys it on Kindle, Mr. Record Owner.
Like a digital copy? Why would you want that?
He's horrified, honey. He's horrified at the idea of buying a digital copy. How could you? How could you suggest such a thing?
I want to hug this, you know? You can't hug a file.
And there's the lesson for today. You can't hug a file. Until next time, have a really great week, everyone. Bye for now.